Welcome to the Cleaning with Purpose podcast. I'm Charlie. I'm going to host this.
I'm Dave.
And you are?
Owner of Crystal Clean.
Yay! Jeff?
I'm Jeff, and General Manager of Crystal Clean.
And you and I have been working together for quite a while now on videos and really helping the world understand. And I just want to celebrate the fact that when you do that work, you are on it. You speak extemporaneously. You really understand the values. We'll cover that today as we think through the history of Crystal Clean. And Dave, I can't wait to hear some of the stories that you've got. But the big part is, Jeff, is that we're very appreciative of the fact that when you get on video, it's usually a one-cut wonder, and you just go to town on whatever the topic is, and you're very educated. And so another thing that I want to celebrate right out of the gate as we start this podcast is, in today's world especially, I'm from Michigan. So the Michigan scene, back in the day, people returned their calls. They answered their calls with love, care, compassion, typically. So down here in Florida, when you have shared with me that if people call in for a quote or an estimate or whatever that is, you turn that stuff around immediately and you're on it, you and the team. And I just want to make sure as we start this podcast that we're real clear about some of these values that we bring to the table. With that being shared, Jeff, is there anything you want to add to that?
Maybe it's the Midwest values. You know, Dave is from Illinois originally. I'm from Indiana, and you're from Michigan. We're all right there, and similar era. And I agree. Being responsive and compassionate to people is kind of how we were all brought up. So I hope we bring some of that to Southwest Florida. We certainly try to, and we want people to feel like they have a partner in Crystal Clean, not just a cleaning company.
Yeah, and I feel like you're living to it 1,000%. So I just want to celebrate that. Dave, any comments as we think about that?
No, I agree. Florida is a melting pot. There's people move here from all over the country and all over the world, but and they bring their own style, approach to business and such. But yeah, the Midwest is a little different. Blue collar, hardworking, take an interest in people, not just in money, as it were. And for me personally, I've never been a hard sell kind of person like you picture a used car salesman. That's just not me. We go in with the approach that, how can we help you? Yeah. And I will say this many times on bid walks, whether you choose us or not, I suggest you do this and this because you help people.
Yeah.
And we'll probably get into that a little bit later, but that's something I learned from Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
Some of the younger folks never heard of him, but he was a precursor to Anthony Robbins and Jim Rohn and those type of people. But excellent attitude. If you help people, you'll get what you need.
And that's a huge testament to a couple things that I wanted to make sure we address. We'll touch on them now. One is this idea that Crystal Clean is founded on growth-minded, ambition-oriented people from the inside out. And one of the things I've learned over the years as far as great businesses is they create, build, and sustain great relationships. And that's not just with customers. That's with their team. And one of the things Jeff shared in some of the videos is how you guys work diligently to include them in like family. And this is a real big part of the cleaning with purpose kind of concept, if we're going to be purposeful. And typically the way I define purpose is we think about improving the quality of people's lives somehow. And on the other side of it, for my work, it's growing people's businesses somehow. I'm blessed that I get to do both. But what you guys have shared, and I've seen this over the years as we've worked together, is there's a real drive to assure that we're taking care of the individual. For work, Jeff, you commented on this in one of the videos, is part of their journey in the work scene, but also outside of the work scene. So it's a real key distinction as we think about that Crystal Clean philosophy and the way we approach it. Any comments, Dave?
I think it shows on the wall back here. Years ago, we adopted that core value, family first, then the client, then the company, which we can go into later, but it's the exact opposite of how big business works. They put the bottom line, the shareholder comes first, and we've flipped it around completely.
Yeah.
And a lot of reasons for that. It's just how we want to live.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just our choice. Life is short. We want to enjoy it, work with friends, work with family, and that's what works for us.
I love that, and it's such a testament to the way I always say from the top down, but from the CEO or the owner down. I can tell when I walk into a company, and I walked into thousands of them over the years, that how the front desk behaves is a reflection of how the owner is. on the 2 or 3 tiered kind of businesses, but even the big ones, where they're 15 levels deep and all that kind of stuff. So, Jeff, was there anything you wanted to add about what we shared?
Well, it's true. We have the core values, and it's always a little bit of an evolution. We continue to work on it because we're on the inside. We want everybody to feel that sense of family, and a lot of it lately has been education, I think. We keep talking about training and working at training so that they feel a part of the company, a part of the family, so that they're not just being sent out to wipe down surfaces and clean toilets. They understand how to go about doing that and why we're doing that, and how it makes our clients feel safe and secure and clean. So we keep trying. It's not perfect, but Dave follows his own core values. So
I love that. So today's goal for our kind of inaugural episode is to go over the values, talk a little bit about the history, or a lot about the history, whatever you want to do, and then how it folds into this current version of Crystal Clean and why it's such an exceptional company today, and what the difference is, but also how we're not only about the tactics. We talked a lot about consistency over the history of our journey together, which is critical in the cleaning industry, systems, consistency, but also the values. And some of the values that I've always felt from you, Dave, and then Jeff, as you came aboard, were care, compassion, courage, trust, authenticity, honesty, respect, and the fact that you guys are very reliable. Like, you get it done. The other side of that is when you live into those values, if there are problems, and typically in any business there are problems, customer will come up with a complaint. It isn't a blame, excuse, denial kind of scenario. It's more of a, hey, okay, thanks for letting us know. I'm where the buck stops. Maybe if they talk to you, Dave or Jeff, let me work through this and we'll make it right. And that's a critical part of the fabric of what I would classify as an exceptional business. So, Dave, you want to comment on any of that?
Yeah, I would agree. It took me many years for someone taught me that you have to view a complaint as an opportunity, and it's a chance to really make the customer happy, to respond, and not view it as, oh, brother, now I got to fix this and that. And we were cleaning a large telephone company building, and the facilities manager, he's the one that taught me. He said, when my phone rings, people aren't calling to commend me or thank me. They're only calling because there's some problem with the building and some complaint. He says, I just accept that and view it as an opportunity to fix it, make them happy, and make things run smoother. And that changed my attitude. View complaints as opportunities, because we're all imperfect. We are going to miss the boss's trash can or forget to vacuum a certain room once in a while. It just happens. And it's a whole different mindset, I think.
Yeah.
So
that's the best that we can do as humans, I think, is to be there when a problem rises, because that's living into a couple of the values we talked through. Compassion. If we define compassion, one of the definitions is recognizing somebody's struggle and having a desire to alleviate it. And when we really get that wholeheartedly and people feel our body energy, that is congruent with the fact that we really do want to help, which I feel from both of you all the time, that's a critical ingredient to an exceptional business.
And one other thought, too, we have to recognize early on that we are in the service business. We're here to serve people.
Yeah.
We're not selling widgets or what have you. So it's not a commodity. It's a service. How can we help you? And people remember that. For the most part, they respect it. And, of course, there's some who are just looking for the absolute lowest price, and that's not our target client anyways. Just accept that approach, and it works.
One of the things that I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs on is that you're a customer service business that happens to do X.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the relationships.
Yep.
And we've talked about that at length in some of our video work, Jeff.
In fact, the reason we, in our core values, use the word client, we can talk about this. At one point, we hired some business coaches years ago, which helped us tremendously. But he asked us, how many customers do you have? We said, well, we have about 120 customers. He goes, no, you have 0 customers. You have clients. Walmart has customers. Target has customers. They sell them a product and they never see them again, Yeah. But with us, it's recurring accounts that we're working for, and that's a client. So it's an ongoing relationship, not just a one and done. We sold something. And then, of course, that's how you get referral work and
Yeah.
business grows. But, yeah, so we've asked our employees that how many customers do we have, and they give all kinds of numbers. And somebody in the back will go, 0. We only have clients. And then it's a big difference. So
That's a really great
Yeah.
distinction. And it's really interesting. One of my life lessons, and I think you both know my story, is I built an internet business in the 90s, sold it in October 10th of 2000, and retired at 29. And people are like, how did you build that to 10,000 users as you and your wife started it? And it was very much around that philosophy. The differential there
Okay.
was it was a deep relationship with every person or family that came in to sign up for internet. And they knew we had them covered from classes to books to working on their computer. If people purchased a computer, the way we were exceptional was we went and installed it in their house, set it up, let them sit at it. We taught them how to get on the internet. They'd have a family. Sometimes we'd stay for dinner. It was like that. But the point I'm sharing, and the reason I'm sharing that is that when we understand being exceptional business, we don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting as far as growing the business. People talk. People are like, you wouldn't believe what happened last night. They came out and installed my computer. They trained us on it, made sure it all worked, made sure the printer worked. Then we had them over for dinner. They ended up staying 3 or 4 hours. But that was an exceptional level of service. And I think that that's the distinction between customer and client.
And you probably have a client for life, too.
Yeah.
You know.
Solid. They would try out other services that came online just to compare, and they'd report back to me. It was
And
cool.
that's where the referrals come from.
Yeah.
That's
So I think if we can solidify one lesson for our listener, that is, what are you doing to create clients that have exceptional experiences with you? And one of the sort of fundamentals of that is this power of great, or I'll even say exceptional relationships.